No one knew it yet, but the moment Leon Hale walked into that quiet little cafe on a rainy Tuesday morning, his entire world tilted off its axis. Not because of a business deal, not because of a hostile takeover, and certainly not because he was the youngest billionaire CEO in the country, accustomed to bending the world to his will. No, the world changed because of the woman sitting alone by the window, sipping tea like she owned the very air around her. Her name was Elena Rivers, or at least that was the name she allowed him to know. Leon Hale had spent his entire life mastering control. Control over markets, control over shareholders, control over every soul who walked through the doors of Hale Technologies. His expression, cold as carved marble. His voice, clipped and firm. His decisions, absolute. But lately, his control was slipping. His board was pressuring him relentlessly, insisting he needed to marry into a powerful political family to secure the company's long-term alliances. Their words, not his. Leon didn't do alliances built on manipulation. And he certainly didn't do marriages arranged like business acquisitions. He needed a solution, something clever, something fast, something that would shut everyone up. And as soon as he saw Elena sitting there, alone, calm, poised, and strangely radiant even in simplicity, Leon knew he had found his answer. She looked ordinary at first glance. That's what intrigued him. A soft sweater, a long, elegant skirt, no flashy jewelry, no designer bags. Her hair was tied back in a loose knot, a few strands falling like careless poetry across her cheek. But the way she held herself, not fragile, not timid, nothing meek or desperate. She sat like someone who had never needed permission to breathe. Leon approached her table with calculated intent, rehearsing the pitch in his mind. Yet when she looked up at him, serene and knowing, eyes deep like she saw right through his armor, he faltered for a fraction of a second. That was new. Leon Hale didn't falter. She didn't smile. She didn't jump. She didn't ask why the most powerful CEO in the city was standing in front of her. She simply waited. Her calm unsettled him. He sat down without being invited, a thing no one else could get away with, and said in his smooth, commanding voice, "I need a girlfriend, a fake one, for 3 months." She blinked once, slowly. Then she nodded, as if he had asked her to pass the salt, just like that. No dramatic gasp, no surprised questions, no flustered expression. Her acceptance was so effortless, so immediate, that Leon Hale, who paid attention to everything, couldn't help but study her more carefully. He offered her $1 million. She did not even raise an eyebrow. She simply said, "I accept." He thought she was doing it for the money. He assumed she was an ordinary woman with an ordinary life. He believed he was the one in control. But Elena Rivers was neither ordinary nor controllable. And Leon Hale was about to find out just how disastrously wrong he had been. From the first day, Elena played her role perfectly, almost too perfectly. She walked beside him like she had always belonged by his side. She spoke with quiet elegance, never too loud, never too soft. At events, she greeted dignitaries and shareholders with polite warmth, her face composed, her gestures fluid. She gave interviews without fear, without stumbling, without saying anything foolish. Leon's board, usually a pack of wolves, found themselves charmed by her poise. "She's the best decision you've made," one of them told Leon. He grunted back, pretending not to care. But he did care, more than he wanted to admit, because Elena wasn't submissive. She wasn't needy. She didn't try to impress him. She was simply herself, unshaken, unmoved, untouched by the storms around him. Leon watched her sometimes, silently, wondering why someone so poised had agreed to something so ridiculous, wondering how someone who seemed so self-contained could slip so seamlessly into his chaotic world. And then the whispers began. One night, at an international business gala, Elena stepped away for a brief moment to get a glass of champagne. Leon followed her with his eyes. He always did, and froze when he saw the French ambassador approach her. Not him, her, and the ambassador, one of the most influential diplomats in Europe, bowed to Elena. Their brief conversation was in flawless French, not rehearsed, native, effortless, too effortless. Leon's chest tightened. She was supposed to be ordinary, unimportant, replaceable. But nothing about this woman was what he expected. By the end of the night, he had too many questions. Why didn't she ever take the money he offered? Why did she never speak about her past? Why did someone erase nearly everything from her background checks? How could a regular woman walk through political minefields like she had been trained for it? And then, the night everything shattered arrived. It happened during the annual Hale Technologies Winter Gala. Cameras flashed, reporters swarmed, investors mingled with dignitaries, and Leon stood with Elena by his side, a picture-perfect power couple, until the doors opened. And the room fell dead silent. The Rivers family had arrived, Rivers Global, the financial empire that influenced governments, toppled markets, and controlled assets in more than 60 countries, the very family whose wealth rivaled the GDP of small nations. At the front was Victor Rivers, the patriarch himself. To Leon's horror, the man's eyes didn't go to him. They went directly, reverently, to Elena. "Miss Rivers," Victor said, bowing, "your father is waiting on your final decision." 100 cameras turned. 100 gasps filled the air. Leon felt his heartbeat slam against his ribs. Miss Rivers? Elena Rivers? That Rivers. His fake girlfriend? Was the heiress to a trillion-dollar dynasty? It felt like the ground beneath him crumbled. He had hired her. He had dictated the rules. He had believed she was beneath him. But Elena, the quiet girl with the serene smile, could buy his entire company without checking her bank balance, and she never told him. Leon pulled her away from the crowd, his voice low and shaking with an anger he didn't understand. "You lied to me." Elena met his fury with calm. "I accepted your offer exactly as you presented it," she said smoothly. "You asked me to be your fake girlfriend. I agreed. You never asked who I truly was." "What are you doing here?" he demanded. "What do you want from me? What game are you playing?" At that, something flickered in her eyes. Pain, maybe, or vulnerability. Something deeply, quietly human. "My family wanted to use me," she whispered. "Just like your board tried to use you. They want to force me into a political marriage, to merge dynasties, consolidate power. I needed protection. I needed a shield." Her gaze softened. "And you were the only man who wouldn't use me for my name." Leon's breath caught. His rage faltered, because he realized she had chosen him not out of manipulation or greed, but trust. She hadn't needed his money. She hadn't needed his status. She'd needed him. That truth hit him harder than any merger, any loss, any betrayal he'd ever faced. The next morning, the board meeting erupted into chaos when Leon walked in with Elena at his side. They demanded explanations. They demanded answers. They demanded to know why he hid the identity of the woman they thought was just a contract girlfriend. Leon raised his hand, silencing the room. "This is Elena Rivers," he said clearly. "She is my partner, my choice, my equal. And if any of you have a problem with that, feel free to resign. Or ask her family why they own half your investment portfolios." Silence flooded the room, then panic, then grudging respect. For the first time, they realized their CEO held power beyond their reach. Elena didn't gloat. She didn't revel in their fear. She simply stood there, composed and elegant, the quiet force that had turned the entire boardroom upside down. Leon looked at her, a small, rare smile touching his lips. She had changed everything. That night, on a balcony overlooking the city, Elena stood quietly, the wind lifting her hair. Leon stepped beside her. "So," he murmured, "what are we now? Still pretending?" For the first time since he'd known her, Elena's voice trembled, just slightly. "No," she said softly. "Not anymore." Leon reached out, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I thought I chose you," he said, "but I think you were the one who chose me." She inhaled shakily. "And would you choose me again?" she whispered, "knowing who I am?" Leon didn't answer with words. He kissed her, slow, certain, claiming, and vulnerable all at once, sealing something deeper than any contract, more powerful than any alliance, something real and unbreakable. When they pulled apart, Elena rested her forehead against his. "You were my shield," she said, "and you," he told her, "are everything I never knew I needed." Below them, the city sparkled. A CEO and an heiress, two empires colliding not in war, but in something far more dangerous and far more precious. Not a fake couple, not a contract, not a strategy, but a partnership, a choice, a love neither of them had expected. Yet both of them were now willing to fight the world to keep. And in that moment, for the first time in both of their lives, they were truly, undeniably free. Welcome to Realm of Stories. Hit the subscribe button now to follow for more content. Remember to like, comment, and share this story.